This is Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Hello everyone, I'm Edo Masai from Pulse of Africa News, here to deliver the newest stories and updates from across the continent. World leaders at the 20th Group of 20 G20 Summit reached broad consensus on disaster resilience, debt sustainability, just energy transitions, and critical minerals as they adopted the G20 South Africa Summit's leaders' declaration on Saturday. The announcement of the declaration's adoption was made at the opening of the summit, the first ever held in Africa. The two-day gathering is being held in Johannesburg under the theme Solidarity, Equality and Sustainability. The declaration warns that increasingly frequent and intense disasters and shocks are undermining development and overstretching response systems. Leaders say they hinder progress towards sustainable development and strain both national capabilities and the international system's ability to respond. They called for integrated, people-centered approaches and highlighted the need for strengthened disaster resilience and response, particularly for vulnerable small island developing states and least developed countries. Energy access and transition also featured prominently. The declaration underscores stark inequalities, noting that over 600 million Africans have no access to electricity. The leaders support efforts to triple global renewable capacity and double energy efficiency improvements by 2030 and emphasize the urgency of mobilizing scaled-up investment in facilitating low-cost financing for developing countries in line with national circumstances. They also highlighted the importance of voluntary technology transfer on mutually agreed terms. On critical minerals, the G20 endorsed a critical minerals framework, describing it as a voluntary guide for sustainable, transparent, stable, and resilient critical minerals value chains that underpin industrialization and sustainable development. The declaration stresses that mineral resources should serve as a catalyst for value addition and broad-based development rather than just raw material exports, affirming the right of producing countries to harness their endowments for inclusive growth. The leaders' declaration reflects a shared recognition that global challenges require more coordinated and equitable approaches. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed held a series of bilateral meetings with global leaders on the sidelines of the G20 Leaders Summit 2025 in Johannesburg, South Africa. The Prime Minister met with Finland's President Alexander Stubb, European Council President Antonio Costa, French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, and Norway's Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre, Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi, as well as leaders from other countries. Discussions focused on regional developments, multilateral cooperation, and strengthening partnerships in areas of education, climate action, and investment, aligning with Ethiopia's ongoing economic reforms and efforts to deepen global engagement. Prime Minister Abiy also held a productive meeting with Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, where the two leaders discussed economic and cultural ties, sustainable development, and enhanced cooperation on climate initiatives. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed held talks with World Bank President Ajay Banga, reaffirming the strong partnership between Ethiopia and the World Bank Group.
They shaped history. They inspired generations. They are the notables. Join us as we honor Africa's greatest minds and trailblazers, the notables, celebrating Africa's icons.
The European Union has launched the Africa-Europe Partnerships for Culture (AEPC) Nigeria Cluster, a £30 million project aimed at empowering artists and strengthening cultural cooperation. Implemented by the Goethe Institute, the initiative will expand collaboration opportunities for Nigerian and other African creatives with partners across Europe. EU Ambassador Gautier Mignot said culture is central to sustainable development and mutual understanding, noting the program aligns with the EU's Global Gateway strategy. He added that the EU is committed to amplifying African voices in promoting cultural diversity. The project joins other EU-funded cultural efforts in Africa, including a £20 million museum partnerships initiative and the £15 million Creative Africa audiovisual collaboration program. The 7th International Chocolate and Pastry Fair was held in Tunis, Tunisia, drawing chocolatiers, pastry chefs, baking professionals and food enthusiasts from across North Africa and beyond. The three-day event featured an array of gourmet chocolates, pastries, desserts, and confectionery innovations, with exhibitors showcasing both traditional and modern creations. Live demonstrations, masterclasses, and tasting sessions offered visitors a chance to learn from top culinary experts and discover new techniques and trends. Organizers say the fair has grown into a major platform for Tunisia's culinary scene, promoting local talent, encouraging industry networking, and boosting the country's reputation as an emerging hub for artisanal chocolate and pastry craftsmanship. Competitions highlighting young chefs and creative dessert presentations added to the excitement, making this year's edition one of the most engaging to date. The United Arab Emirates said on Saturday it will invest $1 billion to expand AI infrastructure and AI-enabled services across Africa, with the aim of helping countries meet national development priorities. UAE Minister of State Saeed bin Mubarak Al-Hajri announced the AI for Development initiative at the G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg, saying it would bring AI technology to areas such as education, healthcare, and climate adaptation. We consider AI not just as a future industry, but as a cornerstone of humanity's future, he said in a statement. Therefore, my country is actively accelerating innovation to enhance productivity and drive significant advancements in the global economy, with a strong commitment to developing responsible and inclusive AI for the benefit of everyone. The UAE is one of the biggest investors in Africa. Its bilateral trade in 2024 reached approximately $107 billion, a 28% increase from the previous year, and its total investments in Africa were over $118 billion between 2020 and 2024, the statement said. Walmart opened its first store in South Africa on Saturday, making the U.S. retail giant's debut on the African continent as it seeks a foothold in a competitive market dominated by local and regional retailers. While Walmart has operated in South Africa for years through its fully owned subsidiary Massmart, which runs chains like Makro, Game, and Builders Warehouse, it has never launched stores bearing its own name. The move is part of Walmart's broader strategy to expand its global presence and tap into Africa's growing consumer base. Hundreds of shoppers queued for hours outside the Rugby store, eager to take advantage of Walmart's everyday low prices and access international products not widely available in South Africa. In addition to in-store shopping, Walmart is launching a 60-minute online delivery service, placing it in direct competition with Checkers' 60 on-demand platform, operated by South Africa's largest grocery chain, Shoprite. This service aims to offer convenience to customers in a fast-paced retail environment, stressing Walmart's commitment to affordability and accessibility. Ethiopia stands among the few African nations that helped lay the foundation for Africa Cup of Nations and strengthened the roots of football across the continent. The visionary leadership of the late Yidnaqacho Tesama, who championed fairness and integrity in African football, remains an enduring source of inspiration. However, the growth of our football has yet to match the boundless passion of our football-loving people. The government is committed to changing this by placing children and youth at the heart of its efforts, said Deputy Prime Minister Tamaskan Taruneh. One of the flagship initiatives of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, the nationwide construction of sports and recreation centers, continues to expand rapidly, building a strong foundation for the next generation. Our young Red Foxes U17 team have made us proud by reaching the Final Four of the CAF U17 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, he added. Out of 3 matches, they have won 2 and drawn 1, keeping their momentum and their dream alive, he said, adding, when we work together and stand united, there is nothing we cannot achieve. The dream of 2029 begins today, with them, with us together, he stated. South Africa continued their stream-rolling November tour with a 24-13 win over an ill-disciplined Ireland team who played part of the game with 12 men after suffering one 20-minute red card and 3 yellows in the first half alone on Saturday. The back-to-back world champions, who had lost 4 of their last 5 games to Ireland and on their last 3 visits to Dublin, led early through a Damien Williams try with Cobus Reenack, adding a second after James Ryan's red card. Ireland then lost both fly halves, Sam Prendergast and Jack Crowley, and prop Andrew Porter to yellow cards during 9 minutes of persistent fouling, and even though Dan Sheehan struck back, an inevitable penalty tried to put South Africa 19-7 in charge at the break. A second half, Sacha Feinberg Mngozemzulu try ensured it was 4 wins out of 4 on tour for the top-ranked Springboks, with the final game to come against Wales. The defeat was Ireland's second in a mixed November series. Ireland then lost both fly halves, Sam Prendergast and Jack Crowley, and prop Andrew Potter to yellow cards during 9 minutes of persistent fouling, and even though Jan Sheehan struck back, an inevitable penalty tried put South Africa 19-7 in charge at the break. A second half, Sacha Feinberg Mngomzelu try ensured it was 4 wins out of 4 on tour for the top-ranked Springboks, with the final game to come against Wales. Up next, we'll provide the latest weather forecast. Thank you for tuning into Pulse of Africa News. Stay with us for more key stories from all over Africa.
Hello viewers, this is African Melody on Pulse of Africa. In our today's topic, we will explore about film musics or film scores. Stay tuned. Film music is a music written especially for a film to enhance its emotional impact, dramatic narrative, and overall storytelling. It can include both a film score or original music composed for the movie, any other musical elements, selecting from existing sources, working alongside dialogue and sound effects. The goal of film music is to guide the audience's response, establish mood, and deepen impression. Here we have a guest who can give us a brief explanation on film musics or film scores.
Music is bringing a lot of powerful dynamic to the story. Having the right music for the right story are completely changing things. When you see a movie like Sinners, in Sinners, without music, Sinners becoming a normal movie. But with the music, this movie is becoming something else because the music was so powerful. The music has a really more important place in this storytelling. So I think it's really important for our people also to bring inside their own movie music with our own identity, because as we don't have a lot of music composers, we're still using some music coming from abroad, and it's important to have in the storytelling, in national storytelling, in local storytelling, having music what's going to fit, because every space is having his own noise. For example, in a village, you know that the natural music you can listen is bird sound, for example. You can have some noise coming from the trees, you know, when there is the wind, you can, so all this is also music. So bringing the right music in the right storytelling, it's making the storytelling more powerful. That's what is really, why it's really important for our people to have also our own music composers. And beside of this, it's also business, because it's an industry. From those music also, you have a copyright, what can come from this, and can help the composers also to make a living with what they are earning from their job.
The components of film music are both the original film score and potentially existing songs chosen for their fit and emotional impact. Film scores are original music composed specially for a film, created by a composer, often in collaboration with the film director. It consists of keys, musical pieces timed to start and stop at specific points. A soundtrack is a broader term that can encompass the film score as well as licensed songs not originally written for the film. It can be compiled from pre-existing commercial songs that fit the movie's themes or time period.
So, I discovered some movies from the music because I loved the song, and finally I discovered that this song was bio of a movie. So having strong song in the movies it's another way to connect with the viewer. And sometimes you can go from the song, to take viewers from the song and bring them to the movies. And as you can also go from the image to the song. So it's really important to have a really strong music in the movies, because you can also promote, when you're promoting your movie, you can, the other side, promote the song. And sometimes some people are just falling in love with your song, then they're gonna love the movie. So it's really important to have beautiful song. And I think in our space where it's complicated sometimes to make business, having beautiful movies and having beautiful song into these movies, you can sell the movies, you can also sell the song outside of the movies. So it could also bring different incomes coming from the beauty of the song, what is connecting to the listener, and those listeners are going to discover the movies, but also it's going to create you some incomes coming from this different way to make money, because using the songs, releasing an album with the song coming from a movie, it's also another business that you can create. So I think we have to be smart in our space where it's complicated to make movies, and use the different way what can really help us to improve what you're doing.
Music for film is composed very differently from most other music due to its primary function as an applied art from that serves a visual medium rather than existing art, a standalone piece of music.
As I'm an artist, first, I can understand the difference between composing for my own song as singer and composing for movies. The difference is that when I'm composing for movies, I have to go from the movies storytelling. I have to go from the sound, the different scene in the movies, and then try to bring an emotion to create something what's going to fit into what the character are saying. But I also have to understand the rhythm. So when I'm composing, I have to work on the texture, I have to work on the rhythm, I have to work on emotion. I have to work sometimes also from the frequency, because bass low, sometimes you can just have a kind of bass in scary moment in the movies. Having just a big bass, can completely bring this scene really powerful. So composing from the movie is completely different from just composing from some singers, because for a singer you don't have to think about first, you don't have to watch what you are what's going to inspire the music you're going to create. From the movie, you have to watch the image inspiring you, so you are creating based on what you're seeing. But when you are you're composing just for some other singers, sometimes you don't have to do it. Sometimes you just create a beat and you send to the singer, and the singer is singing on the beat you just create. So there is completely different way to make it.
As an African, film music must hold content that's deeply connected to the continent's identity and serving as a powerful tool for social reflection and artistic expression.
Important now, what I'm trying to do when I'm doing training is to bring composers to use traditional instruments to have an identity on what they created, because having composers here who are composing like French composer or American composers, I think is nonsense, because if they need music score what it's sounding like in Western country, they won't call an Ethiopian guy here. So we have to understand that using our skills, using our element, gonna also make us different as composer, and people are going to come to us because of our way to create it based on the traditional instrument, traditional rhythm, our reality, our ecosystem. So we have to go to take element from where we are. That's why it's really important for local composers here to start doing this with a local element. So, and then it's going to help local filmmakers also to use this music, and then we're going to know that from this music, this movie is coming from these countries, but it's going to promote also the local instrument, the local identity, the local color, because every music can have a color. So it's really important to understand all this when you are a music composer.
That's all for today's African Melody. Next time we will meet with another topic. Thank you for watching.